Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Bigakar Ahmed, and welcome to today's video. Today, we're going to be going ahead and taking a look at what CNN had to say about the IDF soldiers. They have wrote a sympathy story for the IDF soldiers, saying they're coming back with PTSD. They're not able to eat meat anymore. They're not able to think straight anymore because of how many bodies they ran over and smashed and bulldozed, and the amount of bodies that they seen dead, and the things that they did during the war that gave them PTSD, and the gunshots and all of this stuff. And we should feel bad for these IDF soldiers who are fighting for Israel's protection, the right to defend themselves. They're coming back. They're not able to go to the nightclub with their friends. They're not able to go out to eat with their friends, a big juicy nice steak. They're not, able to sleep at night properly because they're thinking about all the women and children they slaughtered and all the underwear that they wore while they were in Gaza. Like, it's crazy to me that I'm supposed to feel sympathy for people who are committing war crimes. Now, imagine the United States was writing sympathy letters on Nazi Germany. Like, oh, poor Nazis. They had to smell the burning flesh of the Jewish people in the concentration camps. They had to pile their bodies and their ash in these big facilities like garbage plants. And they had to shoot people in the head, and they had to do these things. Poor Nazi soldiers, they have PTSD. They can't sleep at night. They can't get the smell of burning flesh out of their nose. It's like ingrained into their nose. They're just constantly gagging. Like, poor Nazi soldiers for what the gruesome Jewish bodies did to them. Like, it's crazy to me that the United States of America, CNN, one of the biggest news articles on the planet, is writing a sympathy story for soldiers who are coming back from Gaza, who can't sleep at night and who can't eat meat because they ran over too many bodies. Like, I'm supposed to feel sympathy for these war criminals, for these murderers. It's so sad to see how paid off our news is, to see how paid off our politicians are, to see how fake everything is in front of our face. I will continue to watch, and I'll continue to analyze from both perspectives. I'm not someone who's just going to hate Israel because I hate Israel and I hate Jewish people and I'm Muslim. No, I'm American. I was born and raised in America, and I want the best interest for Americans and my country. And none of this is in the best interest of America or my country. None of this is in the best interest of this world. You are killing innocent women and children, blowing them up, and then we are supposed to somehow go poor Jewish IDF soldier who's committing the war crimes, who's killing all the women and children. We're supposed to feel bad. We're supposed to feel sympathy for them. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this, see what exactly was said, and report on some of the news. Show you different videos of what's happening in Gaza and what's happening in Israel. We can compare the two different laterals to see which, way is more frightening, right? Would you rather be in Israel? Would you rather be in Gaza? Should I really feel sorry for these soldiers that they're going back to Israel and that their life is perfectly fine? And that they go back to Israel and they can go to nightclubs and they can go eat steak with their family and they can go to the park and they can walk down the street without thinking about being blown up at any second, even though they've caused almost a global war at this point, and now more than just Hamas is in it. You have Iran, you have Russia coming into it, you have China coming into it, you have North Korea coming into it now. So these are things that are very, very dangerous for Israel. But let's see the way of living in Israel, the way of living in Gaza. Let's see what Israeli soldiers do to the Gazan people, and then see if I should feel any sympathy for them, CNN. So without further ado, let's jump into this and see what CNN had to say first.
The journalistic angle that CNN decided to take is, oh my goodness, isn't it so terrible for the IDF soldiers who are inflicting these atrocities and horrors on the Palestinian people? I literally cannot believe this article as I read it. We can put this up on the screen. Their headline is, Israeli soldiers returning from war struggle with trauma and suicide. They have a trigger warning at the beginning of this article warning readers about, if there's sensitivity, because one of the individuals here pictured ends up taking his own life. Not a trigger warning because they describe how this individual and some of the others that they profile talk about running bulldozers over.
Why'd he take his own life? Do you think he took his own life because of the PTSD, because he couldn't sleep at night? Or you think he took his own life because of what he actually did to these people? Like when you murder people and you run over their bodies and you wear their underwear and you mock them and you make fun of them, and then you go back home and you stop being a demon for 10 seconds, that demon inside you starts shaking and freaking out. Yeah, of course. You're used to killing people and stepping on their bodies and blowing up their buildings, and now you're not doing it anymore. Now you're sitting in the peacefulness of your own home. You can't. It's driving you crazy. Peace and quiet drives you crazy.
Hundreds of Palestinians. And the take on that is not, my God, the atrocities that are being committed. The take on this is, oh, these poor IDF soldiers are coming back with PTSD. I mean, you can't even make it up. They write here, for many soldiers, the war in Gaza is a fight for Israel's survival, must be won by any means. But the battle is also taking a mental toll that, due to stigma, is largely hidden from view. Interviews with Israeli soldiers, a medic, and the family of Mizrahi, the reservist who took his own life, provide a window into the psychological burden the war is casting on Israeli society. Unbelievable. They profile one guy who, like I said, talked about how he's a vegan now because he had to run over so many hundreds of Palestinians and see their insides squirt out that he can no longer eat meat. And the person we're supposed to be sympathetic for is not the Palestinians who are being murdered, but for the soldier who's traumatized by doing the murdering. Like, what are we doing?
Well, that was
here?
the wild part to me.
So, yes, that is actually insane. Is that they expect you, right, to read a story that says this guy can no longer eat meat anymore because he ran over thousands of Palestinian bodies and squished their guts all over the place. So now he can't eat meat, and I'm supposed to sympathize with him. I'm supposed to feel sorry for him because he can no longer eat a burger, or he can no longer eat pasta with ground beef in it, like, or eat a steak. Like, how am I supposed to sympathize with a monster like this? He wants me to sympathize with him because he ran over hundreds of dead bodies and their guts squirted all over the place, and he's sick and he has a mental disorder now. You're a sicko. I hope you die. I hope something really bad happens to you, and I hope you end up going to hell, is what I hope. I don't sympathize with you in any way, shape, or form. Now, it's crazy how Western media wants to turn you to sympathize with him. Oh, pray for Israel. They're the chosen people. They're God's chosen people. This is what God's chosen people does. God's chosen people bulldozes dead bodies by the hundreds and live bodies by the hundreds in the rubble, and then can no longer eat any more meat because of how much meat, human meat, they have dysfunctionated and blown up and pulled apart. It's disgusting. It's 100% disgusting. The fact that they're giving me a narrative like the Nazis, right? Like I'm bulldozing hundreds of bodies and their guts are squirting out. It's no different than I have 100 Jews that I'm throwing into gas chambers and burning alive. Like I'm supposed to sympathize with the Nazis because the smell of burning flesh of the Jewish people? Not the Jewish people who are being burnt in the concentration camp. The Nazis who have to smell it. I feel bad because they have PTSD now because they smell dead bodies all day. That's exactly what you're asking me to do. You're asking me to sympathize with the person who's running bodies over, killing everyone, but not care about the women, children, men, buildings, complete society that has been flattened to the ground. I'm not supposed to care about them. I'm not supposed to care about any of that. No, but I'm supposed to care and sympathize for the murderer, right? It's very interesting, the take that has been placed on this. Now, here is what they do in Israel, guys. This is Israel. This is the type of TikToks they make in Israel. They think it's fun. They think it's cute. They're not being blown up. Their houses are fine. Their internet's good. They go out. They go to school. It's a trend. It's okay to go ahead and dress up like dirty, nasty, ugly Arabs and do these little dances and mock people. Why? Because they don't see them as humans. They see them as animals. They see them as something to just blow up, people to take their land. This is how they treat them. They dress their kids up. They dress their families up. They give themselves these unibrows. They give themselves this whole entire thing. Look how he's mocking them with water and with lights. And they think it's funny. And they dress up with headscarves on. And they're sitting there and doing all this stuff. It's crazy. And then this is Gaza. Then this is what's happening in Gaza. The rubble, actual dead kids. And then this is what Israelis are doing at home. They think it's funny to go ahead and do shit like this. This is Gaza. This is what they're doing in Gaza. They're sitting on little kids' bikes. You know where those little kids are? Those little kids are either under rubble or displaced. So they're either dead or they're displaced. They're no longer living in their house. And guess who's riding their bikes now? These poor IDF soldiers who are are under so much trauma. They have PTSD from riding little kids' bikes and wearing women's underwear. I know. This is what's happening in Gaza. This is what Gaza looks like. This is what the Jewish people of Israel, the IDF soldiers, are doing in Gaza. They're wearing underwear. They're riding little kids' bikes. They're mocking them. The people in Israel, they're creating TikToks, they're creating Facebook videos, mocking Palestinians, putting unibrows and wearing fake headscarves, mocking them as they kill them. They think it's funny to mock them. Can you show me Palestinians mocking Jewish people? Can you show me Palestinians wearing Jewish people's underwear and blowing up their homes? Can you show me? You do know the weaponry exists. Iran exists. China exists. Russia exists. Israel is this big. They can get wiped off the map like this. They've chosen not to. So are the Arabs doing this to the Jewish people? Or are the Israelis doing this to the Arabs? I really want to know. I really want to see the lateral difference here. When I Google search Israel, this is what I get. Nice, clean images. Looks like a vacation spot, you know? Nice and beautiful, right? This is Israel. When I look up Israel on Google Images. You guys can do the same thing. Look up Israel on Google Images. Then look up Gaza. This is what Gaza looks like. Do you see it? It's in pieces. It's just pictures of bombs, pictures of rubble, pictures of half of cities sitting here. So you're going to sit here and tell me, I'm supposed to feel bad for Israel? When I look up Israel, it looks like a vacation spot. When I look up Tel Aviv, this is what Tel Aviv looks like. People are outside, they're eating, they're in the nightclub. God's chosen people drinking, getting drunk, fornicating. Look. They're having a good time in Tel Aviv. This is Tel Aviv. Could I tell you and show you the same thing in Gaza? It's very sad. It's very sad. This is Gaza.
The Israeli military has
as of yesterday, by the way,
released footage showing what it said were people evacuating northern Gaza.
These people are evacuating northern Gaza. So these people are doing this while Israelis are doing this. And I'm supposed to feel sorry for them. I'm supposed to feel bad for these guys who are wearing women's underwear, who are riding little kids' bikes, who are running over hundreds and hundreds of bodies and squishing their guts out and going, I can't eat meat anymore because I squished out all the guts. And I have PTSD and I'm sick to my stomach. I'm supposed to feel bad for that guy because he can't go to the club and have a drink because he just committed half of a genocide? Crazy to me. It's actually crazy to me. My mind cannot comprehend how the Israeli government and their media completely lies to us, straight in our face, tells us they're lying to us, and then wants us to sympathize with them. Blows my mind. Ladies and gentlemen, blows my mind. You think it's all fake, and Hamas is a Hollywood studio, is like Hollywood, right? They're Hollywood studios. And they record movies, and their budget is more than the Avengers movie. They're just creating all this fake propaganda of fake dead Palestinians and fake destruction and fake debris and fake blown up buildings and fake everything. So the world thinks that Israel is committing a genocide, but really Israel's not doing anything wrong. Their soldiers are running over hundreds of bodies, according to CNN, And we're supposed to feel bad for the soldiers running over the bodies because they have PTSD now. There's no difference from me feeling sympathy from a Nazi German soldier. Oh, poor Nazi, that he has to smell the burning flesh of Jewish people when he burns them in concentration camp. Poor him that he has to go home and he smells like burning flesh when he goes and sees his wife. Oh, poor Germany. Poor Germans. They smell like Jewish flesh. Like, it's crazy to me that this is the narrative you're building. Like, poor Israeli, he comes home smelling like Palestinian flesh. He can't even eat meat anymore because he swam in their blood in guts. Like, it's disgusting. It's literally disgusting. And this is going to continue to escalate. This is going to continue to get worse. And people who don't have half of a brain, I'm sorry, but you're going to get pulled away of your government and you're going to be sacrificed. I'm just letting you know this. Like, if you're not paying attention and you don't have a strong stance for yourself and morals and value and God and all these things, the government will throw you out there as a sacrificial lamb. These IDF soldiers are brainwashed sacrificial lambs. They're being sent to genocide people and then coming back with PTSD. They're nothing but a little tool, like a screwdriver, for the government above. Netanyahu, I don't see him out there fighting. He won't go fight. He won't get on the ground. He won't click a button. All he does is make phone calls all day. That's the difference. That's the difference between the people fighting Israel, is they actually fight Israel, and Israel fighting other people. They're not fighting. They blow you up from the sky. They click buttons. They're not men. They wear women's underwear. They ride children's bicycles that they've either put under rubble or displaced. And they think it's funny. They think it's a mockery to dress up as Muslims, Palestinians, and to mock them. Mock their dead. Mock their children. Mock the women. They think that that's okay. That this is normalized in their culture. When you go to Israel, you can go to the nightclubs, you can go eat, you can do whatever you want. When you go to Gaza, there's not even a school left. There's not a hospital left in Gaza. You can't even get medical care. You're getting medical care on the side of the street. They slap some dirt on you and tell you, good luck. So it's very, very interesting to see two laterals here and to see how CNN and how the American media is going ahead and portraying this, especially after a year of the world waking up and seeing everything that happened. They don't care. The Zionists who control the media, the Zionists who control the banks, the Zionists who control the world, they don't care. They'll continue to push the same narrative on you and play the victim until the end of the world. And they will continue to do this because it works. It doesn't matter even if you know the truth or you don't know the truth. The more they condition you to shut up and see them as the victim, the more you'll shut up and see them as the victim. Even if you don't believe it, you won't do a damn thing about it. And that's how media works. That's how reinforcement works. And that's how psychology works. And the Israeli government and the United States government understands how the human brain works. They understand psychology more than anyone else on this planet. And they will 100% use psychology to control the minds of the world and twist the narrative of what's happening in everyone's face to the way that they like it. No matter if the world sees what's happening, no matter if the world sees a genocide happening in front of their face, they won't do a damn thing about it because of all of the opposite propaganda that's being pushed against them to sit down and do nothing. To oops, Israel is the victim. That is still lingering in your head. Even if you don't believe it, you still believe it, and you're not doing anything about it. So thank you guys so much for coming today. God bless every single one of you, and until next time, free Palestine, free Lebanon, and free the whole entire Middle East. Bye-bye.